Hello and welcome to what might be a controversial topic for you, but is a common topic of conversation when we coach clients at the IAD. My name is Dr. Darren Stevens, and in this short video I will talk you through how imposter syndrome is discussed in the realm of adult development, and then from a constructive development theory perspective with an example of how we address it with a client. A quick Google search on imposter syndrome will show you this kind of image. Some websites even advocate for a constructed reality without reference to CDT. However, it's not really about what you think they know, whoever they are. It's about how much stock you place in others' opinion of you. So imposter syndrome is a psychological phenomenon characterized by persistent feelings of self-doubt, inadequacy, and the fear of being exposed as a fraud or imposter, despite evidence of your competence, accomplishments, and qualifications. Now, people experiencing imposter syndrome often believe that their achievements are due to luck or external factors, or the result of deceiving others rather than their own skills and abilities. Do you see an issue with this already? The lack of logic or rational thinking is key here. Imposter syndrome is not limited to a particular demographic, but it does seem like women experience it more than men. Why would this be? Pause the video here to copy the URL if you prefer. Overcoming imposter syndrome can be a challenging process, but it is entirely possible with self-awareness. It's not about negative thought patterns in as much as it is about an external locus of evaluation and a lack of awareness of your construction of you. The first step isn't to recognize and acknowledge it. The first step is to realize you're using a label that has crept into the lexicon of the business zeitgeist, and it could be wrong. So this begs the question, how does one construct imposter syndrome? External is a social emotional intention. It requires a predisposition for emotional processing. I'm not saying that, according to the article, women are emotional more so than men, and the research would agree with me. In cognitive intention terms, it looks like the next slide. We can understand that somebody who has very, very high internal and low external has a completely different behavioral outcome than somebody who has low internal and very, very external. Why and how? What it boils down to in CDT terms is our level of awareness. There are 4 pillars of constructive development theory, as you probably might be aware. This is a simplistic slide that highlights a very important point. However, you should understand that there are a lot more cognitive intentions combining to construct an individual's construction of imposter syndrome in context. This is just one example. On the next slides, I will show you how it works in practice. So the objective isn't to be comfortable in each environment, but to be comfortable in your construction of self in each environment. This comes with time, and as you recognize how you construct you in each and become capable of choosing this, rather than it simply being an unconscious reaction to the environment, how does this map to imposter syndrome? So we'll look at that now in a real-life case. Isabel is a fake name, but a real person. She was largely external in her constructing, as she was more aware of others' perspectives than her own and relied upon this external frame of reference for her sense of self. Also, her primary attention was focused on caring for others rather than herself. In addition, her success strategy had an imbalance towards quality control, resulting in a belief that things needed to be perfect. High quality control and low vision, which is about ideas, results in a self-sabotage pattern, which Isabel felt but did not see in her patterns. Combined, all this made it difficult for her to exercise the kind of influence required in her role and resulted in her feelings of unworthiness. Influence on the slide is about power and control. At her level of thinking, she was subject to her relationships and thus not in control of the relating. That's according to Keegan's system. It was the job of the MCO to expose her unawareness and disrupt her construction of self until she understood how to do it from a position of intention, awareness, choice, and response. Cut to 6 months later, and Isabel's overall development level has made a significant jump. From an AQ perspective, she has moved from AQ 5 to 6 and is well on her way to becoming AQ 7. Remember from the Fibonacci video that this is magnitudes better than where she began her coaching journey with us. The increase in her observer means she now steps back and makes sure things are right for her before jumping in or agreeing to something. The increase in her internal and own allows her to feel braver, more able to express her opinion, and has found that people will listen to her. Isabel is now much more aware of the influence she has, and by using it is able to help her clients much more than before by influencing their thinking. And she reports feeling more in control and more professional. Isabel said, please pause the video here and read it. So you might be asking, what did we do with Isabella's thinking? Using the Identity Compass profile tool, we deconstructed her unique thinking style and uncovered those cognitive intentions that were causing her the most consternation. She had labelled this thinking style in line with the zeitgeist of business psychology and just assumed it to be true. We then walked her through this construction, emphasising the interventions from a CDT and next-level coaching perspective, giving her time to adjust her construction, and eventually, her construction of self changed. Her unique thinking style changed, which means her response to her business environment changed. Ultimately, her thinking style no longer accommodated the imposter syndrome construction. So, with sufficient self-awareness and a capacity to question your intention in the moment, the question on the slide will never enter your head. With your IAD-accredited MCO, focus on those cognitive intentions that impact your construction of self to such an extent that any label you have learned over time simply does not map to your choice of thinking and behaving, whether that's imposter syndrome or introvert or INTP. If you are interested in learning more about how we use CDT and levels of self-awareness from more than just an imposter syndrome perspective, then do get in touch and perhaps join us at our next workshop. Thank you for listening and take care.